Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Ranking the Albums. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday here with us. I've got today alongside me in the co-captain's chair, Mr. Rich Catino. Happy couple days after.
After Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
We had pleasant weather, which
Yep,
is kind of
exactly.
nice. It's been weird. It's like it's not too cold, not too warm. Sun was
Right.
out. We had a little bit of rain, for a bit
Yeah.
on Friday, but otherwise not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Yep.
Back to work tomorrow, which sucks, but what are you gonna do?
Wait, tomorrow's Saturday. No, tomorrow's Sunday. This is Saturday. 2 days.
Well, we're recording on Saturday, but it airs on Sunday, Rich. So
Oh, okay.
trying to make it seem as real as possible here,
There we go. Okay.
But yeah, Rich and I, it's Saturday for both of us. We're recording today, so we still have the weekend to go. But when you guys watch this,
Yeah.
it'll actually be getting ready to go back to work on Monday. So we've been talking about doing this one for quite a while. So we finally arrived. We are going to rank the albums of U.S. Christian metal act Stryper, who have been around for quite a long time. This is a band that most of us of a certain age group kind of grew up on in the 80s. They were always around, whether you dug them or not. They were a pretty fairly big band for a while there. Maybe not a mega band, but they had a really loyal following and broke up for a while, got back together, and they have been releasing some pretty amazing albums of late, which we'll get in our ranking. There's the Yellow and Black, right? That's what they were known for. The
Yep.
Bibles and the yellow and black costumes and the blazing guitars and the high-pitched vocals and great harmonies and
Melodies. Yep. You know, this is the original cover actually for the first album.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And then they reissued it in '86, I think, with the other cover with the planet, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So this actually, it's pretty cool. This is the version that only has 6 songs. So if you have the CD, it's got the extra 2.
It's got the extra,
right?
Yeah, which we'll get to in a bit. But yeah, exactly.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. So we're looking at 12 albums here. So they actually have 14 studio albums. However, the covering, which came out in 2011, is basically just cover songs, and then Second Coming in 2013 is them re-recording lots of their older stuff. So we decided to leave those out. We're just going to we may talk a little bit about them at the end, but we're just going to cover the 12 studio albums of all new material today. And as we always do, we'll start with number 12. Work our way back, and I'll have Rich kick us off with his number 12.
All right. Neither one of us have this. Maybe there's a reason why. Reborn from 2005.
Yep.
So this is the reunion album that they did after they were broken up since, which one album was that? Against the Law.
Yeah.
Right?
Which 15 years. Yeah.
Yeah. That was 1990 that came out. So this is 15 years later. It's very modern, right? A lot of modern, like chugging guitars. Very, very minimal, if any, of the twin harmonies and the melodies, right? It's definitely a product of the times, I would say.
Yeah.
Reminds me a little of Disturbed, Seven Dust, right? So it's really not Stryper being Stryper. It's them influenced by what's going on, at that time period. So songs that are tolerable, as I put in my notes, are Open Your Eyes, Passion, the ballad Rain. But like the title track, I put in the unlistenable category. Didn't like that. What Did I See? When Did I See You Cry? Make You Mine? Live Again? If I Die? With the vocal effects. I don't enjoy this album. It's not a Stryper album. It feels like it's somebody else's album with Michael Sweet singing, right?
I would agree with a lot of that. More about that in a minute. But first, and this might be controversial for some people. And one of the things that I realized when doing this ranking is that I find that some of the older albums, for me, haven't held up well all these years later. And I have found that I really prefer their more recent catalog quite a bit more. So my number 12 is going to be In God We Trust, the fourth album from 1980.
Interesting.
Yeah. I didn't think that this was going to be the case, but kind of listening to this catalog over and over the last couple of weeks, I find that this is by far the weakest of the early albums.
Production-wise, totally.
Yeah, production-wise, it's a lot of soft songs on here, a lot of ballady things. Really, I find a lot of this
Poppy,
really kind of
poppy,
slick and syrupy and poppy.
Yeah.
Title track is great, right?
Yeah, love
Denying that, and this album,
heavy, love it.
Yeah. But Keep the Fire Burning, Always There for You, The World of You and I, Lonely, I Believe in You. Oh, man, it's just like I just don't.
You know what though? The Writings on the Wall is one of my top 5 Stryper
Really?
songs. I love that song. Oh my God. Did you listen to that again?
Oh wait, Writings on the Wall. Yeah, no, that's a good song.
Yeah.
That's a good song.
Heavy. I love it. That's one of my favorites.
That and the title track, I think, are the best songs on this album. But I find most of the rest of it just really soft and just not really my cup of tea. The guitar work is good, but it's just they're going for these really poppy choruses and things, and it just, man, it's like, to me, by the time they got to this album, I think the essence of what we really liked on the 3 albums that came before it are kind of gone.
Right.
And it's like, to me, it's not surprising that they didn't last much longer than this before the big long breakup and whatnot. But it's like, it is what it is. I mean, I know some people really dig this album, and I think this was, them and the record label saying, hey, we want to break into the big time, and it sold well, but I think I remember at the time, they kind of lost me around this time. And now revisiting these albums all these years later, I'm kind of like, now I see why. So that's my number 12, In God We Trust, fourth album from 88.
I thought the single was good too. Always There for You. I thought that, even though it was very light and poppy, it was a great single, great hook, I thought. But you're right. Comparing it to what we heard before, it's not as heavy as the first 3.
Yeah, it's not. Very, very.
And Michael's singing so high on that album too, right? Everything though, the melodies and everything are so high up there,
Yeah, it's not enjoyable for me anymore.
Yeah. It hasn't aged well for me either. So we're at 11.
Yep.
Going with Murder by Pride, which was, what year was that?
2009.
2009. And this is with Oz and Michael Sweet and his brother Robert, but the bass player was not, what's his name? It's escaping me right now. I can't think of it. It was another bass player.
Yeah. God, what is his name? Tim.
It's terrible. Tim Gaines.
Tim Gaines. I knew it was Tim. I'm like, what's
not right? He didn't come back until the next album.
Right.
So this one's better than Reborn. Has more of the traditional Stryper elements come back, but still the modern riffing. Still missing the twin guitar melodies, like I said. Eclipse of the Sun, Four Leaf is okay. The Peace of Mind cover, Boston song, that's good.
Yeah.
But there's that ballad Alive, which is very dark and somber. Did you notice that one? Title track is probably my favorite on the album. It's back to the classic Stryper. And the other 2 ballads too. There's 3 ballads. So Run in You and Love is Why. Is that the song? Yeah, Love is Why. Probably my 3 favorite songs on the album. But other than that, it's still them trying to get back to where they should be.
Yeah.
But it's not overall a strong album, I don't think. But it's better than Reborn.
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction. I'll get to that in a minute. We're not far in our ranking here. So my number 11 is Reborn, which you just mentioned before, from 2005 to 6. The album, first one in 15 years. It's dark and heavy, but it's got, like you mentioned, it's got those kind of new metal, alternative metal tones, which it doesn't really sound like Stryper. I mean, you're missing all that guitar interplay. There's none of it on it. It's all, and Rich, we talked about this before on various shows. It's like, there was a point in time where a lot of metal acts were like, all right, we're going to do without the guitar solos, and we're just going to be heavy and attitudey and all that kind of stuff. And I get it. That was a big thing for a while. But man, I don't want to hear Stryper doing that. And you got these 2 terrific guitar players, and they're not really doing any of their signature stuff on here. So I find this album, Live Again is nice and heavy, probably my favorite song on this album.
Mm,
Title track is all right. Where Did I See You Cry has got some good grooves. Passion is kind of catchy, but I find this album really mediocre. And some, like I said, there's
yeah,
nondescript metal songs on here that if I just heard this out of the blue and you didn't tell me it was Stryper, I wouldn't think it was
right,
Stryper.
right. Aside from recognizing Michael's voice.
Yeah, you might be like, okay, yeah, that definitely sounds like Michael Sweet, but this doesn't sound like a Stryper album. So, I mean, it's
Yeah,
not completely awful, but it's very mediocre, I think. But
right.
first album in
Yeah,
all those years, I think they were trying at least. So, whatever. But yeah,
yeah.
definitely one of the lower ranking ones without a doubt. I don't think we'll get too many arguments about that for this ranking.
I
So
agree.
that's my number 11. Back to you for number 10.
All right, 10. I'm going with In God We Trust. All the reasons that you said. It's a little too light, too poppy. The songs are very mediocre. I actually have, let me see, I have in the vinyl, the money bill that came with the Stryper money.
Wow.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of like light, sappy, poppy songs on this, like Lonely, Come to the Everlife, It's Up to You, Keep the Fire Burning, Um, I thought when I listened to it again, The World of You and I was actually pretty good. Revisiting it. But other than that, title track, Always There for You, and Writings on the Wall are probably my three favorite. The rest of it, I could take it, I could probably leave it. I don't even want to take it. Just leave it,
I hear it. Yeah. Yeah. It's to me, it's kind of a forgettable album.
Yeah. The vocals are too high, the melodies are too high. It's just too commercial.
Yep. Yep.
Give me those three songs on a compilation. I'm good.
Yep. Yep. I'd agree. My number 10 is Murder by Pride from 2009. So, I mean, you kind of nailed it. I think they're trying to return to the core sound after Reborn. And I think for the most part, it's getting back there, right?
It is.
Eclipse
Yeah.
for the Sun is a really good song. It's energetic. It's got that anthemic chorus. You hear the
Yep.
guitar solos are back again, which is cool. You mentioned Four Leaf Clover. Great riffs, great vocals on that. The Plan is catchy. Kind of reminds me of the 80s stuff. Mercy Over Blame, pretty heavy. I think that kind of foreshadows the direction they're going to go in starting on the next album. My Love is good, nice and heavy. You mentioned it, that there are probably a few too many ballads on this album. I think the stuff that really works on this album works well, but there's like 4 ballads on here. I'm like, oh, geez, enough. And
It is.
but I think overall we're getting back to what Stryper is all about. Did they need to do a cover of Peace of Mind by Boston? It's good. It's really good. And
Yeah.
he was singing for Boston at the time. So I guess it kind of
Right.
makes
Right.
sense, but I would have rather heard another Stryper song, to be honest. But
Oh, you know which album is it on? They do a remake of In God We Trust, and it's awful. It's on Reborn. Did you listen to that?
yeah,
They cover their own song. It's an abomination.
yeah.
I forgot about that. That really pushed that album on the bottom of the pile for me. I was like, that is just. I was like, what? It's like when who did that? Skid Row did that with "I Remember You." They did a punk version of it.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
Complete trash. It's
Yeah.
awful. Just ruined a great ballad.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to leave your own songs alone and just.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, number 9.
Number 9, going with the Yellow and Black Attack. Love that cover.
Yeah, I had that original vinyl back in the day too. I got rid of it.
So this one is the beginning of them. Well, unless you listen to Rock's Regime. Remember, they were another name before they changed to Stryper.
Right.
Which those demos are really cool. Did you ever hear those?
I don't think
The
so.
Rock's Regime. There's a CD out of those songs. Really cool. Raw, kind of heavier. It's kind of like this album. But it's not a bad album. It's just them getting to be where they're going to be on the next couple albums. But still, I really like Loud and Clear, From Right to Wrong, You Know What to Do. Come On Rock, Come On and Rock is really cool. I heard them do that once. Loving You's okay. It's a nice ballad. Yeah, I still enjoy it. It's just not as good as the other two that's coming after it. But still enjoy it, revisiting it. You could hear all the beginnings of, Stryper, the harmonies, the melodies, the vocals, the riffs.
Yep.
Really cool riffs on this album too.
Oh yeah, yeah. The first three albums have a lot of really good riffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was never an issue with them. For the most part. Yeah.
Definitely not. Or the vocals or the harmonies, But
Yep.
like I said, this is like a good starting point to what develops afterwards. So it's cool. It's definitely better than In God We Trust. Right?
Yep. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Even though it started as an EP and then turned into an LP. Because remember, this was considered an EP because there was only 6 songs.
Yeah, it was about a half hour, I think, at the time.
I think so. And then when the version that you have on CD is the one where they got the extra 2 tracks, right? I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, indeedy. All right. My number 9 is To Hell with the Devil.
Huh?
Yep.
Stop.
No. To Hell with the Devil.
Stop it.
Third album, biggest seller in their catalog. Much better production than the first.
I'm speechless right now.
Yeah. That's, like I said, I was very surprised when I went and re-listened to all this stuff. To me, a lot of the early stuff just doesn't hold up as much as I remember it, and I still like it. I mean, it's a good album. It's a really good album.
But it's number 9. But it's number 9. Wow,
it's number 9. That just goes to show you. Yeah, I'm telling you, I was surprised. I know this is going to be very surprising for a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, better production, killer guitar tones, title track just completely mashes. Great chorus, great vocals from Michael Sweet. Calling on You's got hooks to die for, right? Free, great melodic metal track, great chorus. The Way is fast and furious. Rockin' the World is crushing. But man, I don't really dig, honestly, sing along song All of Me and Holding Me. I find that the ballads for me, Rich, I just don't like them anymore. I don't, and there's too many of them on here. The stuff that's great is really great, but the mushy ballad stuff just brings it down for me. So a really solid record. Again, I know this is probably going to be many people's favorite or at the top.
Yeah,
not for me anymore. So yeah,
interesting.
I know. Kind of odd.
If you remember when we did perfect albums, perfect sides on an album, that was the album that I picked.
I know.
Side A.
Yep.
Wow.
What can I tell you? Sorry, Rich.
That's cool. It's interesting.
I just ruined your weekend, right?
I never expected it. It's a curveball. I was like, whoa.
What can I tell you? What can I tell you? All right, number 8. What do you
got? All right. So, see, I'm on the same page with you. Like, I like the newer stuff too, but the classics is what I grew up on too. So it's a tough struggle between what I like more. But I went with. Where is it here? I don't have it. Do you have No, I have it here. No More Hell to Pay. Next. So that's what we're at number 8, right?
Yep.
All right. So this is when Tim was back in the band, and this is 2013. So this is the first of 5 albums.
Yeah. Since
2013, if anybody's paying attention to what they're doing. So I like this album. The only thing I think that why I put it where it's at is it starts off with 2 slow songs. They're not slow ballads, they're just slow moving songs, right? With Revelation and the title track.
Yeah, they're kind of more dirgy type of stuff, which
yes, still good songs and still a good melody to it and a hook. But I think maybe it's sequencing that throws it off for me. And I think they got better after this album, like they were getting their feet wet again. So it's still got some good songs, but I think I like what came after better. So aside from those 2, Legacy's really good. Marching into Battle, Sympathy and Renewed, I think are great. And I think those 2 would have been better kicking off the album instead of Revelation and the title track.
Yeah,
right?
like a faster track starting off. Yeah.
Right. A little more spunk to it, What else? Jesus Is Alright is okay. Saved by Love is decent. Ti Amo was one of the singles. You remember that? One of the, I think it was a lyric video or something. That was pretty good. Yeah. Sticks and Stones, Water into Wine. Those are kind of mediocre. But other than that, everything else is, it's enjoyable. Just not as much as I like the albums that followed.
I hear it. My number 8, I'm going to go with their 5th album from 1990, Against the Law. Pretty strong album, I think.
I
Yeah,
like this album.
their first album and moving into the 90s. Again, a lot
Yep.
of changes here. They ditched the yellow and the black costumes.
Yep.
They pretty much pull back on a lot of the overtop Christian lyrics, and
They do.
some of
I
their
like the
stuff
black
is
and blue color scheme too. The black and blue color scheme on their clothes was different. I liked it.
Yep, it's good stuff. For me at times, and I've seen a lot of people comment on this lately. And it's like, well, how can you listen to bands that sing about evil stuff all the time, but you can get turned off by bands that sing about positive,
Right.
religious themes,
And Jesus in the Bible. Why not? If everybody else is singing about everything else, let's hear somebody else do something different.
right.
You know?
You know what it is? I find that, and I'm not blaming Stryper here. There's other bands that do this. I find the nonstop kind of Christian preachiness, to me, after a while, gets a little tiresome. Whereas I find bands that sing about the darker themes, to me, it doesn't come across as like pummeling you with it. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what it is.
Because it's a little more, I guess, imagination and things like that. They take with their lyrics. It's a little more, like creativity, I guess you could say, instead of.
Well, yeah, because if you're singing about dark themes, there's so many topics you can cover in that, right? Whereas if you're singing about Christian themes, every song is about God and love and God and love. And it's like, after a while, it's like, all right.
This is true. I think that's why a lot of people are thrown off by Stryper, because of the lyrics, but not the music. But Against the Law is a little different. So if you don't really like them always singing about Jesus in the Bible and heaven, listen to Against the Law.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah. And this is a really solid record. It really
is.
Yeah. It's more of like just it's really not even a metal album. It's more of like just a really strong hard rock record. It reminds me at times of like Extreme, Lynch Mob, Damn Yankees, which were all bands that were fairly big at the time. So that's surprising. And if you like that sort of thing, you'll really dig this album. There's some really great songs on here. All for One is really good. Caught in the Middle.
They still play that live too all the time. They still play that.
Rock the Hell Out of You, Rock the People, Two Time Girl, really good songs on here. I think this is a really strong record. What's a real shame is that this would be the album that kind of stalled them for 15 years. They would be done for quite a while. And, again, 1990, we're ready to move into grunge and alternative, right? So maybe if they would have played this album out 2 years before, they might have been able to squeeze another 1 or 2 albums in this kind of style and maybe would have kickstarted their career again. I don't know. But I think, like I said, if you like those bands that I mentioned, you'll really dig Against the Law. It's a pretty strong album. So that's my number 8.
I agree.
All right, Rich,
all right, what's next? 7. I got so much stuff laying out here. Going with Even the Devil Believes. One of the newer ones. Let me see if I got this right here. Yeah, going with Even the Devil Believes. So this is from 2020. Pandemic year.
Yep.
They even have their masks on the inside of the album too. So yeah, this is I like this album. It's strong. Blood from Above was a good single. Remember, that was one of the songs that was single. That was really good. Let Him In, I like a lot. Do Unto Others, that was another, I think there was another video or something, right? Or a lyric video.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I'm correct. Title track is my favorite. I really like the hook in that. How to Fly as well. This I Pray. Do you know what they say in the lyrics in that one?
What does it say?
That's the children's bedtime prayer.
Oh.
Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. So they do some of those lines from those verses in that song, which is nice. The last couple, they're not bad. They're just not my favorites out of the album. Invitation Only, For God and Rock and Roll, and Middle Finger Messiah. They're okay. They're not my favorites off the album. So I think I like the beginning of the album more than the second half of it. But it's strong. It's got all the melodies, the harmonies, the twin guitars, everything you're looking for from Stryper. But I will say, though, these albums post 2013 have more elements from kind of like Murder by Pride. as well. Like with the riffing, it's not all the same kind of riffing. They mix it up a little bit more. You notice that?
Yep. Yeah, the guitar tones are good. They're just different. They don't. These
Not
albums don't sound
100%.
like, they don't sound like the '80s albums at all.
No, I was gonna say it's not 100% 80s Stryper. Still has those elements, but it feels a little more contemporary.
Yep, I would agree. Yeah, I don't know if they could replicate Soldiers on the Command in 2022. It's just
right.
Yeah.
But some of those melodies and harmonies that they got going on with the vocals and guitars feels much like what they did in the 80s, which is nice because that's what Stryper, that's what makes Stryper Stryper.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's almost like they change up the way they create riffs, but you still get all the amazing leads and still the harmonies are what.
So they're not redundant from album to album. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. All right, my number 7, I'm going to go with the debut, the Yellow and Black Intact. So again, this is the CD copy cover, right? So a little bit different than what Rich showed. Rich's cover is much better. There they were back then, right? Yep. So, loud and clear, killer metal track, wailing guitars everywhere from wrong to right. Memorable chorus on You Know What to Do. All right. Come On Rock is great. Loving You rocks hard. Reason for the Season is great. These are some of the extra songs on here. A couple mushy ballads, some of those syrupy sweet choruses are on here. The production is not very good on this album, although I do like the guitar tone, but overall the production is probably the weakest out of all their albums. But it was a debut. It was 1984. But overall, I think it's a fun debut, and it signals the arrival of a different type of band, right? Because we really didn't have at this time, with all the metal that was popular, we didn't really have any Christian metal. And the fact that these
84,
guys,
right?
84, yeah.
So I'm looking at a bunch of albums from 84, and there was nothing that sounded like Stryper. No. Even the more melodic bands, the glam metal that was out in 84, as I'm looking at this, like you have the first Rat Out of the Cellar, right? Yeah. That's 84. You got Van Halen, 1984. A lot of heavy stuff too. First Icon album. Whitesnake Slide It In. Europe Wings of Tomorrow. Kiss Animalized. First Great White album. So still got some melodic stuff out there, but it's a lot of the heavier, more traditional metal that's out there too. Yep. Yeah, this is definitely different. Yeah. So that's my number 7. Number 6, what do you got? All right. I gotta look up the list here. I got notes and papers and lists and album covers and CDs all over the place. So I'm going with Against the Law. I like this one. I think it's still strong, even though it's not all the traditional elements of Stryper that everybody knows. I really like the title track, Two-Time Woman, Rock the People, Two Bodies, One Mind, One Soul. Shining Star, that cover, that was really good. Mm-hmm. Who did that originally, Shining Star? God, what was the name of that band? Oh, let me see if I can see in the booklet here. I'm drawing a blank. Yeah. Who did Shining Star? Tell us out there. Who did Shining Star? I don't remember. But cool cover. Nice and funky, a little different. Ordinary Man's okay. I like the Ballad Lady. I do like Stryper ballads. I think they're good for the most part. All for One is cool, and Rock the Hell Out of You is the heaviest song on the album. Closes the album. So I always go back to this album. I like it. Even though Michael Sweet himself doesn't really like the album because it's different. Because it is different. It's not traditional. Yeah, because it's not traditional Stryper elements. I hear you. Yeah. All right, my number 6. Again, probably gonna surprise a lot of people. Soldiers Under Command. Second album from 85. First one I ever heard. This is the first one I bought, actually. And then I went back. Same thing with me. Yeah. Title track is still one of their best songs ever. Love it. That riff. I love that riff. Riffs are amazing. The solos are great. Makes Me Want to Sing is very memorable. Together Forever. Just love the raunchy riffs on that. The Rock That Makes Me Roll, it just crushes. Surrender is heavy. What's Good on Here is great. But like I mentioned before, I find I don't have Reach Out. You like Reach Out? Yeah, it's all right. Okay. I think for me, the ballady stuff and the lighter stuff, I don't know. I don't have as much tolerance for them anymore. Yeah.
But what's good on here is really, really good. And like I said,
Yeah.
I fully expected, Rich, when I was getting ready to start re-listening to all these albums and put my list together, I expected this to be number one. I fully did that. And then as like I was like,
Because that's the first album you got by them. That's
first
your
album I
intro to them.
got, it still has a couple of the tracks on here are some of their best ever. But I'm like, you know what? I find I enjoy other albums, later ones, as you can probably tell, a lot more than. So for me, this is like right in the middle of the pack. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad album. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of people watching are going to have this as number one or two. I couldn't argue it.
I know.
Just not for me.
But you can't deny that their new stuff is as good as their old stuff. So it's hard to put this in there, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So that's my number 6. Now we go to the top 5.
5. So I don't have this on CD. I got to get it. We were talking about this, how sometimes it's hard to get some of their albums on CD.
Oh yeah, especially
when they come
stuff. Yeah,
when they come out, they come out and then they kind of disappear. You know, you got to
because Frontiers only prints like X amount of copies, and then once they're sold out, they don't print anymore. So yeah, the Frontier stuff, if you don't buy them when they first come out, good luck. You know.
So we got Goddamn Evil, which you have that one, right?
Yeah, which I just got in actually. There you go.
2018. I like that cover.
Yeah.
These new covers, by the way, are awesome.
Yeah, all this new stuff.
Albums.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. So this album starts off really heavy with Take It to the Cross.
Yes.
With those, who does the growls on the chorus? Somebody. There was a guest vocalist that came in and did some of those darker, lower growls on the chorus. I forgot who it was though.
Yeah, let me look that up because I don't remember exactly.
But I didn't mind that. People were kind of turned off by that, but I kind of liked it. It was different.
Matt Bishand. I don't know who that is. Matt Bishand.
But that was different. It was something different that wasn't throwing off the complete song, you know, just taking off its rails. It still was a great Stryper song.
Yeah.
You know, just a little different additive, you know. Let's see. Sorry, Lost, really good. Goddamn Evil's okay. It's one of those mid-pace songs with the hook. Not my favorite from the album, but it's okay. But the Valley's great. Sea of Thieves, The Devil Doesn't Live Here. Cool album. Heavy, aggressive, you know.
I would agree. Yeah, I
definitely goes with the artwork, you know.
So back to the other album, Shining Star is the Earth, Wind, and Fire cover.
Earth, Wind, and Fire, yes.
I was drawing a blank. I'm like, I know it's like this very well-known like R&B soul funk band that I like a lot, and I was like, is it Earth, Wind, and Fire? I was like, yes, it was. So yeah, I wanted to look that up because it was bugging me. I was like, I can't stop thinking about it. I'm like, I know I should know that because I like the song a lot, you know. So yeah. All right.
And again, this is another album that's real quick. There's another album that's not repetitive and kind of being relived the stuff from the 80s. It's got elements from the 80s, but the riff is, you know, riffing's a little different here and there. Yeah. Still got the twin guitars, still the harmonies, you know, and the melodies. So
good. Yeah, it sounds like a Stryper album. It just sounds like Stryper today.
Exactly.
Which I like.
Yep.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
My number 5 is the latest one, The Final Battle from 2022. And again, you know,
that might be my favorite cover. That might be my favorite cover. Of all the covers, that might be my favorite.
These covers, I mean, I'll take it out of the booklet so you guys can see without the glare. But I mean,
that one and To Hell with the Devil I think are my 2 favorites.
Yeah, yeah, great artwork, and you know, and I when I did my review episode, I showed the booklet, but there you got the guys, you know, back wearing the yellow and black, you know, after all these years.
Yeah,
which is cool. Yeah, I like this.
I like the way they put the lyrics in there too. Not everybody does that with their CDs anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
you got Transgressor, which is just a killer, fast-paced ripper to kick off the album. See No Evil, Hear No Evil is really, really good. Lead guitars all over the place on this album. Heart and Soul has some really, really good riffs and a great chorus. Near is actually a really good ballad. I like that. That's quite a good one. Out, Up, and In, Rocks Hard, Rise to the Call is a really almost like a speed metal track. I mean, make no mistake about it. These latter period albums are really heavy.
Are heavy and aggressive.
Yeah, big time. No Rest for the Wicked is great. Ashes to Ashes, another really fast metal ripper. Man, I heard this year, and this just came out recently. I was like, man, these guys still have plenty of fire left in the tank, and that's
definitely in my top 10 of the year, I think.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. So yeah, the final battle is my number 5. Could even rank higher, but at some point. But again, it's so new. Had to put it somewhere, but I knew it was going to be high up.
There's actually a riff on there. I think it's No Rest for the Wicked. That reminded me of a Gravedigger song.
Oh, really?
It's got this really heavy and dark sounding. Isn't that the song that I'm thinking of?
I'm not big on the Gravedigger catalog, so but that song
Right.
definitely does have
But it's kind of dark and heavy like that and slower.
yeah,
That's what it reminds me of.
yeah.
I think that's what I said when I did my review for Brave Words. All right, where are we at next?
4.
4, right?
Yep.
Final battle. So all the things you said, like Transgressor, Same Old Story's good. I really like what else? Ashes to Ashes and Rise to the Core. Probably two of my favorite more modern Stryper songs. I love that section where the solo comes in for Rise to the Call and how it speeds up a little bit. You know, so great. And the solo section's awesome too. Out and Up, Out, Up and In, and The Way, the Truth, they're okay, I think, compared to the other songs. But I like Heart and Soul. And like I said, the other ones, Near, Same Old Story, Transgressor, Ashes to Ashes. It's strong.
Yeah.
It's strong. It's, they're not running out of ideas and they're not running out of riffs.
No, and I think if folks watching love like twin guitar solos and harmonies, man, Michael Sweet and Alex Fox are just like killing it on this album, killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not perfect, like I'm pointing out a couple of songs on each album. They're not as good as the other ones. Just happens that way, but still overall, great music.
Strong stuff. Yep. All right, my number 4 is Goddamn Evil from 2018. Strong album. Take It to the Cross, kicks it off, high energy. I mean, I love when these guys start off an album with like a blazing ripper. I mean, that's just kind of,
I know.
That's good, record making 101, I think. But these guys do it more often than not. It's the chorus is great on that song. It reminds me of like Painkiller era Judas Priest,
Yes.
and Halford solo stuff. I mean, the vocals are just like whoa.
Yeah.
Blazing riffs. I mean, blazing solos and crunchy riffs all over the place. Sorry is kind of slow and doomy.
Yeah.
Any great chorus. I like that a lot. Michael Sweet is singing his ass off on that song, this whole album, really. Lost is another great song. Title track is just this great kind of fist pumping anthem. The Valley, super heavy. Sea of Thieves is great. Own Up is great. The Devil Doesn't Live Here. Really fun album. There's maybe a 2 or 3 songs that are kind of generic sounding, but they're not bad. And I think
like kind of like Can't Live Without Your Love or Beautiful Maybe.
Yeah, they're okay. They're
Yeah.
fine.
You Don't Even Know Me. Yeah, those are kind of the 3 that are just kind of meds and meds for me,
Right, but the rest of it is just killer.
Yeah.
I mean, really, really killer. And it's a great sounding album. So yeah. So that's my number 4. Goddamn Evil.
Top 3.
Top 3. Here we go.
All right. So my 3 is Soldiers. This was also my introduction to them. Bought it in '85 when it came out. Do you remember that they had a video for the title track too?
Oh yeah, yeah. They played that
quite a bit. Before MTV was playing it, they were doing it on that. I think it was the North Channel U68. They used to play it all the time. That's how I found out about them. So, I like this album a lot. I think the only song I don't really like, if I had to pick one, is maybe First Love. One of my least liked ballads. But other than that, Together Forever also, but makes me want to sing, Reach Out. A Love That's Real, I really like. Together as One, Surrender, The Rock That Makes Me Roll. This is just a rocking out.
It is.
I love this album. I love the guitar tone too. Guitar tone is really crunchy. I love it.
Yeah, that was what instantly drew me to the band. I was like, man, these riffs are killer. These solos are smoking. It's like, and it didn't sound like anybody else. I mean, Stryper
Stryper definitely in the '80s definitely had a different, unique guitar sound compared to everybody else that was making metal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And this is also fun fact. This is another Michael Wagner album.
Yes.
Which is probably why it sounds so good.
Yep. One of Butch Jones's favorite producers.
What's that?
One of Butch Jones's favorite producers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, these albums sound great. Anything that he produced, I think he produced what, first Skid Row album, first two maybe, and a bunch of other people from the 80s.
Oh yeah,
A
he's
lot of
done.
hard metal. Yeah, he just was awesome. Made
Yeah.
everything sound great.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. All right, my number 3. I don't have a hard copy, but it's on the way. I did find a used copy of it. No More Hell to Pay from 2013.
All right, I got that here.
I just got it. There we go. Cool cover. Look at that. Yeah, Revelation, killer song, memorable melodies, nice and heavy, hooks everywhere. Love it. Title track, great Michael Sweet vocal, loads of twin guitars all over the place. Saved by Love, pretty great. I even kind of, their remake of the Doobie Brothers, Jesus is Just All Right. It's fun. It's fun. Did it need to be on here?
Yeah, it's okay.
Whatever. Do they need to be doing covers? Yeah, I get it. But it's good. Not surprising.
Once in a while, it's fine. Once in a while, like their cover of the Black Sabbath song, which is on Fallen. That's a great cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That they did After Forever.
Yep. Yep. Surprising choice, but a great song. Legacy is a great song on here. Marching into Battle is probably one of their heaviest songs ever. I kind of like Water into Wine. I think on this album, even the couple of soft songs I think work really well. I think No More Hell to Pay is a really, really strong album. So it's my number 3. And the top 2.
Right. Top 2. Going with Fallen. Love it.
Yeah.
This is probably as close to a perfect Stryper album I think you're gonna get. Right? Like the song Yahweh, how awesome is that? The way it moves between those riffs and then the riff that comes out of the solo, love it.
Yeah.
No wonder why that song never leaves their set list. It's always in, But like the title track, Fallen, is awesome. Pride, chuggy, mid-tempo riff, right? Heavy, big screen lies. Heaven is good, very melodic. Love You Like I Do, I think, is the single that should have been, that never was. It's very catchy, good hook. I like that one a lot. What else? After Forever, the Black Sabbath cover is awesome. The Calling, Let There Be Light. There's not a bad song on this album. King Will Be Kings. King of Kings. Ends the album. It's strong all across.
Yep.
Can't go wrong with this one.
Yep, I hear you. More about that in a minute. But before, Even the Devil Believes from 2020.
Wow.
There's my number 2.
Our ranking is not the same at all. We're all over the place.
We're all over the place. That's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's great.
An absolute belter of an album. Blood from Above, to me, sounds like
another great opener, right? Another great opener.
Kills. It's like it could have been on Painkiller. It's just so good. Make Love Great Again. I think you mentioned that before. That's a little slower, a little more plodding, but I love it. It's really heavy. Got a great message, I think. Let 'Em In sounds like something from the 80s. Do Unto Others has some great riffs and solos. The title track just cranks. How to Fly.
That's my favorite.
Divider has some great guitar solos on here.
Yes.
Forgotten Rock and Roll is good. Middle Finger Messiah, I think, is great. It's just like this, manic headbanger. This is a killer album. This could have been my number 1. I debated back and forth between my number 1 and my number 2, and ironically, they're both from the more modern era of Stryper. But yeah, this is great. If folks out there haven't heard this, if you can get a copy, get it. It's really good. Frontiers record. So that's my number 2.
The last 5, if you haven't heard them, just give them a chance.
Yeah.
Stryper is not a band that's just living off their past.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, I think I know what your number 1 is.
I know. It's unavoidable. I can't believe it's at your 9. I'm very disappointed. But it's definitely To Hell with the Devil. Easily. Love that cover. I don't know why they censored this. Why would you censor it? It's just good. It's good fighting evil. What's the problem with that?
There was way worse covers in that time period than that.
Way worse. Yeah. Way worse. Look at some of those other album covers from I don't even know. Look at Slayer. Like Rain and Blood and Hell Awaits. And so many other bands too. They changed it to this.
Yeah, boring. Boring.
Jeez.
If you're gonna leave
Yeah,
the devil in the name of the album, you might as well just have all the artwork too. I mean, this is what's the big deal there? Yeah, it's
I
ridiculous.
know, I know. So this was my favorite side of an album when we did that topic once. So Abyss into Hell with the Devil, great intro. Love the riff, the tempo of that song. It's just heavy, it pounds, still melodic. Solo section is one of my favorites by Stryper. Calling on You is great. I love it. It was a catchy single. Free was such a cool video. Them at the like in a theater playing live. Thought that was awesome. Honestly, it's fine. It's a ballad. I'll take it. It's not my favorite ballad by them, but it's okay. The Way is awesome. How great is that riff? Right?
Yep.
That first riff, which is actually, when I look at the credits, that's an Oz Fox song.
Oh,
So
he
he
wrote
wrote
that
that
one?
song. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's cool about the old albums too, You got all the information, who wrote what, all the lyrics. A lot of albums don't come that way anymore.
Did they? I don't remember if they did it back then, but do they tell you who's playing the solos on that? I don't think they did.
No, this one came with, which I still have it, the mailer to get like Stryper merch.
Merch. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, remember when they used to have the mailers for merch you can get by a band?
Oh yeah,
So I
yeah.
still have.
Because it was all mail
Yeah,
order back in the day, right? No internet.
yeah, it was awesome. But no, I don't see anything about, like, remember Iron Maiden used to do the breakdowns?
Yeah, yeah.
Who played what on each album? This one does not have it for Stryper. So you got what else? Sing Along Song is very good. Rockin' the World is a great rocker. More Than a Man, another great rocker that closes the album. And I like Holding On. I know that's one of the songs that you thought was a little sappy, but I enjoy that song. So overall, I think this is my favorite too, because it's a great representation of classic Stryper. All the elements came together for this album. So that's why I also had to pick this one too. Fallen is a great representation of current Stryper, I think. And then To Hell with the Devil is great for their past, for the 80s.
Yep. Like I said, I was not surprised you had that as your number one. I figured it was either going to be that or
maybe after I picked side A for great, one sides of an album was a little hint.
Yeah, it's okay. Like I'm sure a lot of people are going to be picking that down in the comments, so I'm not surprised. I can't argue that point at all because I get it. For me, Fallen is number one.
Nice. I like how you got that up there as well with me because I had the number two.
Yeah, I texted Rich early in the week because I was listening to this and I was like, man, Fallen is so good. He's like, yep. Like I hope I didn't give too much away then, but yeah, I mean, this is just a crushing heavy metal album, loaded with huge riffs, blazing solos, and those potent vocals. I mean,
yeah,
I'll talk about it first but there's so much else to talk about here. Their cover of After Forever by Sabbath is really, really good.
I love it. And they do great covers. They have a whole album of covers.
Yeah.
Which I don't have it here, but they did a great, they do Van Halen on Fire, which is smoking. Yeah. Love that cover. They do really good hard rock and metal covers.
Yeah, because that's what they're into, and that's cool. It's like they're not just covering the same old shit that everybody covers. Well, let's do another White Room by Cream, and let's do the same songs of Led Zeppelin that everybody else does. I mean, because so many bands do covers albums and they do the same songs that everybody else is doing. And at least with Stryper, they kind of they pick stuff they really like, and they pick like cool metal stuff and hard rock, and what else? Till I Get What I Need, just a total banger on here. You mentioned Yahweh. I remember when I first got this, I was like, oh God, they're really doing a song like that, but it's so good. It's so good. It could be great. Really good. Title track is great. Pride is great. Let There Be Light, The Calling, Big Screen Lies, all really good. This album has a really dark and serious tone, which I like because I like darker tone music anyway.
Right.
And
Stryper, all their songs are not all upbeat and positive either. They mix it up. Some of it's dark, some of it's more lighthearted, catchy, commercial almost.
Lyrically, it's still positive stuff, but I just think that the musical tone is darker, and I think that's why I'm gravitating more towards the latter part of the catalog versus the earlier part of the catalog, because I like that darker musical tone a little bit more. But this is a heavy album for me. Heaven, the ballad, sticks out like a sore thumb on this album because everything else,
Really, I like that song. I still like it. I think it's a great ballad.
it's good for what it is, but it almost sounds like it doesn't fit on here. It's
Okay.
weird because nothing else is like that on this album. It's like the only track like that. And again, I know it's Stryper. Every album has stuff like Heaven. But
Yeah.
to me, the rest of the album is so like darker and heavier in tone. And then you get that, and it's like, all right, almost like I had to put it on there because that's just what they do. And it's like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
But everything else on here is great. I mean, King of Kings, terrific. Really, really great album. Let me we got any pictures of them here. Cool.
I'm trying to look up the songs for the covering because there were some great songs on there.
Here we go. There they are.
Yeah. Cool shot.
And again, I want to give some props to the band for keeping the logo pretty much the exact same throughout their
Yes, yes. Oh, and they're not wearing the yellow and black in here either. It's all black, which is different.
Yeah, all
Sometimes
black.
they have the yellow and black. This one does not. But wait, going back to that cover album real quick, they do Over the Mountain from Ozzy.
Yep.
So good, right? Carry On, Wayward Son, Heaven and Hell, another great cover. Immigrant Song, Set Me Free, which was really good if you remember that one.
Yep.
Scorpions, Blackout, UFO, Lights Out. You know, a couple obvious choices, but they got some killer covers like Over the Mountain. Nobody really covers that one. It's always Crazy Train, something like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it takes balls to cover Randy Rhoads, right? So yeah.
Right.
And as far, so we didn't talk about Second Coming from 2013, which
which I have.
Yeah. Them just redoing stuff. I mean, so many bands do that nowadays. They go and they do.
Because the rights thing, right? They get the control of their songs again because they record them. But I don't really like the way this sounds compared to their old albums. I think if you remaster the old albums, bring up the levels and everything and balance it out, it would sound great. But these, they don't have the same crunch and punch that the old ones have. You know
what it is? It was a moment in time, a lot of that stuff. And it's like, there's no way they're going to sound like that today. It's just.
I know. Even with newer, production qualities, but there's a couple other songs on here too, Blackened and Bleeding from the Inside, which are newer songs, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're on a previous album, right? But everything else is The Way and Free and Calling on You, sing along song. They sound good, but like I said, they just lack that big sound like some of those older albums had.
There's a certain charm from those older albums too that you really can't.
Yeah, especially To Hell with the Devil. The drum sound on that's great. I love the guitar sound.
Yep.
If you remaster it really good, that would sound awesome.
Yeah, and that was at the time that was their best sounding album because the first two albums.
Yeah. I think isn't this Michael Wagner also?
I don't remember.
I want to say. Let me see. Is it?
I think co-produced by Stefan Galfas and the band. So
it wasn't him. Okay.
Yeah.
Still sounds great though.
Yeah. It was an improvement over the first two albums for sure. It sounds like they had more budget, more to utilize. Label gave them some extra money. So yeah, sounds good. And then that you've got that other compilation, which I also have too. Which for someone looking for a start to Stryper, that's a pretty good one. I don't know if you want to read.
It's called Seven, the Best of Stryper.
Yep, it's a good one.
Yeah, good representation from the past up to the present. They even put Shining Star in here because that was a single, so that makes sense. Yeah. But you got In God We Trust, Always There for You, To Hell with the Devil, Calling on You, Honestly Free, Something, which is another song I don't think that was previously released.
No, I think
that's different. What else is on here? The Way, Makes Me Want to Sing, Reach Out. It's all stuff from the classic era.
Yeah.
Nothing from Against the Law, unfortunately. No, All for One is on there. So they did one from that album.
Yeah, because I think that came out mid late 90s, I think, before they officially.
Let me see. It's on Hollywood Records. Looks like 2013, I think.
Oh, so was that late? Okay.
Yeah. Something and For You is previously unreleased. Yeah. Yep. Good compilation.
I thought I've had that for way longer than that. It's hard to believe that's almost 10 years old already. Jeez.
I know, right?
It was
And
all,
then this was the first compilation, Can't Stop the Rock. Do you remember that one? That was in the 90s.
yeah, yeah. That's probably what I'm thinking. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was the other one, which goes from 84 to 91. But this is a short compilation, though. This only has 12 songs.
Yeah.
But you got one previously unreleased. You got one called Believe. Did you ever hear that one?
No.
It's a good tune. I like when bands do, if you're going to put out a compilation, at least put something different on it or something that's unreleased, like they did here. It
Yeah.
makes it worth getting.
Yeah, sometimes bands will throw a live track or two or something like that, but yeah.
Yeah. Unreleased songs are good.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I would agree. All right, everybody, there you have it. Our ranking of the Stryper catalog. There's lots of stuff here, so if you want to tackle the job like we have just done, do that in the comments below. A lot of good stuff here. And or if
another one of those bands, real quick, another one of those bands that are not just a ready, as I do my quotes, another hair band, right? Like Winger and Extreme and all these other bands that everybody likes to judge based off of their past,
Right. Yeah, this is definitely not a sex, drugs, and rock and roll
or a
band.
couple MTV videos or singles, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Guitar fans, you will dig this band. There's tons of, and that's the reason why I started listening to them back in the day, because I just couldn't deny how great the guitar work was, and the vocals are outstanding as well. So, if you don't dig the Christian lyrical slant, I mean, I get it, but I would say
it's got to be something you can enjoy for what it is. I didn't mind it. Like I said, it was something different back then. Yeah. Everybody else is singing about everything else. Yep. They were the ones that were singing about, heaven and Jesus and the battle between heaven and hell, which a lot of bands were doing that too,
True. Yeah, true. But just uplifting music, a little bit different, because I know the band Trouble were basically singing about lots of Christian themes too early on, but they were a boom band. So yeah, it's a little bit different. Yeah. But yeah,
the good thing about metal is they talk about everything. Everybody sings about all different stuff.
Yeah. So and I think the moral of today's story as well is don't sleep on the newer albums, because
exactly
there's some really, really great stuff on these albums, and really strong. Of the last 5 really, really good.
So, and when's the last time you saw them live? Because I always go see them live, and they're so good still.
Well, if you would have been on last week's Hudson Valley Squares episode, Rich, you would have found out that I've never seen Stryper live.
Really?
Never seen them.
I didn't get a chance to watch, so I had no idea. Really?
Yep.
Wow. Dude, you have to get to see them.
Yeah, I would like to. I just never have, for whatever reason.
Wow.
For whatever reason, never have. So I'm sure I will someday. They still tour pretty regularly. So
yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, there you have it, everybody. Ranking the albums of Stryper. Like I said, rank them as you like them in the comments below. Do the whole shebang. Your top 5, your top 10, whatever you want to do. And remember, there's no right or wrong answer. So thanks for watching, and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. It's very important for the YouTube algorithms. And please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. We'll see Rich back here real soon, either on the Monsters Den or here on Ranking the Album Show. Rich and I are talking about a couple other ideas for ranking episodes, so we will be working on that probably in I think we said early January, right, Rich, for our next go round?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So stay tuned for more happening here on the channel. We've got tomorrow the Hudson Valley Squares as we kick off the work week, so stay tuned for that. For Rich Catino, I am Pardo. Have a good rest of your Sunday, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see you later. Take care.